Welcome, everybody, to NoCoders Office Hours, episode 297. I'm your host, Tanya. We're here with members Rob and John. We're going to get started in just a moment, but if this is your first time tuning in to Office Hours, what it is 6 Zoom sessions every week that we hold, and we invite our NoCoders developer members to come and ask any bubble questions they want, any bubble or no code questions that they might have, and we do our best to answer them. We can't promise to have all of the answers because nobody has all of the answers, but we do get it right most of the time, and we promise you won't suffer alone. So we'll go ahead and get started with John today. John, you've got some Stripe questions?
Yeah, my main question is how do I find the unmute button on Zoom, but I've worked it out. I hate the fact that the Zoom thing moves the controls. I don't know why they can't just fix it. But anyway, right, rather than moaning, let me share.
Seems like something they should have been able to fix by now, but you are not alone. I hear this a lot. Yeah.
Oh, I was on a car crash of a Zoom call the other night where the guy hosting it, I don't know if he'd used Zoom at all, but it took him 15 minutes to try and work it out, and he had that I've lost my controls, what do I do, and no one could hear him, and this, that, and the other, and it went on for about 15 minutes for him trying to work it out. But anyway,
oh gosh,
let me it was very funny. I'll tell you about it after
hours.
There was another factor of catastrophe with it. Right, so first question, which I think I sort of know why it's happening, but I don't know how to stop it from happening. So I've been doing some testing. So I've been adding and deleting users for most of the day. And what you'll notice is Stripe customer ID is fine. So that's coming back. I've then got Stripe plan ID and Stripe plan name, which I'm trying to set. Now, to my mind, the Stripe plan name should be, when I go to products, I was expecting it to be large underscore test, medium underscore test, small underscore test, because to my mind, they are indeed my plan names, I think. But what you'll see is I'm getting, for the Stripe plan ID, I'm getting the price key. For the plan name, I'm getting the same price key, etc. So that they are just my price. Now, in my workflow, which will be under, and I've changed register now, I'll show you, just in case this confuses things, I'll show you what I've done in a minute. So I sign the user up, which is nothing to do with Stripe, really. I then create a new subscription plan, which is also really nothing to do with Stripe. And then I subscribe a user to a plan, which is to do with Stripe. And I think what is going on is here. So here it says Stripe plan name, and I've got drop-down plans choice value Stripe price ID, and it's dev because I'm currently using the dev keys. So I think what I'm inadvertently doing is telling it the plan name is actually the price ID, which is why I've got the problem. But so I think that's the first question is, do we think that's the problem? And then I'm not sure how I get around it, because all the demos I've seen and whatnot, they are putting the price ID in this field.
Yeah, I think that's the way to get the work done in terms of subscribing them to a plan in Stripe. Yeah. So is your issue that when you want to actually store the name of?
So here where I'm saying, right, so now you've subscribed them to a plan, now make changes to that user. Stripe plan ID equals result of step 3 plan ID. Plan name equals plan name. But these two values aren't plan name or plan ID. They're price ID.
Got it. Well, I think the price ID is fine. Right. Because that's what you're getting back from.
Yeah, and actually registering for Stripe and setting them up all works, so I can create them, put them on the right plans, they get charged, bloody, bloody, bloody. It's the data I get back to put in the database that seems to be causing me the issue.
Right. So I think, I mean, and really, I think you're okay with the Stripe plan ID storing the price ID instead. Like, yeah, you don't have
really
an issue with that. Okay. But the plan name, instead of doing results of step 3, then just go ahead and dynamically put in the name of the option set.
Okay. So So that is going to be drop down plan choice, isn't it? Because I'm going to have to tell it. So drop down plan choice value, and then so plan level we've made.
It's probably the display is the name of it.
Yeah, because that's the value in the drop down, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So okay, I get you. So that will give me what I have called the plan, not necessarily the same thing as what Stripe has called it, but that will probably do it. But it's just weird that Stripe isn't giving me back what it has as the plan name. That's the bit that's confusing me.
Yeah, I think you're just using the regular bubble Stripe plugin, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's a quirk with using that plugin, but
right.
It should, as long as it's doing the right things in Stripe, I think it's okay.
Yeah. No, it's all working fine in Stripe. Okay, cool. Okay, that makes sense. It will just be, I'll have to be really careful about making sure my plan names bear some proper relationship to the Stripe plan names, so I don't end up calling mine medium and Stripe's large or something. Otherwise, that will get really confusing.
Right.
And I'll have to have a think about what I get back from Stripe. So thank you for that. So in the here, I guess this is the bit I was just working on before I jumped on the call. I'm going to have to be careful with this. So when they make a change to themselves, to their plan, then I can, subscription status, that will effectively, if they cancel, it will change from active to cancelled or whatever. But I'm also going to have to be careful if they downgrade or upgrade their plan to make sure that I know that and then give them the corresponding features or whatever for that plan level.
Right. And you're going to do that. You'll get do you want me to walk you through the logic to match the option set by the price ID?
That would be awesome. But shall we come back to that and because I see we've got a few people joining. So why don't we stop and come back to it and let other people have a go? How's that?
Yeah, sounds good.
I'll stop sharing my screen, but keep this open so I don't forget where it all is.
All right, perfect.
Thank you.
Hi, Nathan. Hi, Brenton. Nathan, you were next.
Hello.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Tanya.
How's it going?
Real good. Thanks. Let me share my screen. I'm hoping this is just I just can't click something in my head, but can you see my screen?
I can.
Okay. So this is an admin panel for a front-end user portal. There'll be multiple, let's call them organizations that have access to these same features, but each organization can choose whether or not they want to see these features on the left. So I have these features in an option set that control several things like the icon and some colors and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm pulling this list from that option set. Basically, it's show all the items. What I'm trying to figure out is if an individual portal admin has the option to select which of these things to show or not, I can't figure out how to control. How am I controlling that list? If I was to toggle something on or off, how am I controlling that list and then using those controls to show or not show the list of items here?
Sure. So you need to store a list of those options on, I guess, the admin or the user, like the admin's user or the admin's profile. And then the toggle is just going to add or remove its corresponding option from that list.
How do I create? So, okay, that makes sense. How do I create the list to begin with? So so if I create a new, let's say a new organization or a new admin for an organization, but if it's a new organization, does the list automatically start with all the features or does it start with none of the features and then the admin has to add them?
That's developer's preference. I would probably start with default with everything on, like everything in that list. So as the user signs up, you just go ahead and add the whole list of that option set to that list on that user. And then you just give them the ability to subtract from there. So effectively, all of those toggles would be toggled on to start with, and then when they come in here, they can toggle them off and on as they need to.
Right. Okay. So on the list on the left, what's the logic that shows or hides them?
Gotcha. So that would be on the list on the left would be the list of those options from the user. So you would just say current users list of menu items or whatever you're calling that option set.
Okay, so right now
So instead of all OS tools, it would be current users OS tools list that you have stored.
Got it. So this list actually isn't pulling. It's bouncing off the user first, and then it's pulling it from the option set from there.
Yep, exactly.
Got it. Okay, there it is. I appreciate it. That was I just couldn't connect it in my head, but yeah, that lets me know what I need to do. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, no problem. You're welcome. Brenton, are you home?
I am. I mean, I'm at a coffee shop right now, but I'm not in Italy.
But you're back. You're back from vacation. That's awesome. Welcome home.
Yeah, back in good old Atlanta. So,
Awesome.
yeah, so I had an exciting week, both because I was on vacation and because we've been planning for months to do our soft launch and accept payments this week. And then, of course, while I was on vacation, Stripe deactivated our account without any real reason. Basically, they said something like they think we're risky. So I'm going through the process with them, but so I'm hoping that you can help me. I'm setting up PayPal now as our payment processor. And I found, I was just looking at all the plugins, and there must be 20 plugins for PayPal. And I just wasn't sure which one I should go with. So I was wondering if you had like a preferred plugin that you use for PayPal. And there's three things I want to do, although only one of them is super important in the short term. The three things are: I want to accept one-time payments, I want to accept subscription payments, and I want to be able to pay out payments to
other people. Got it.
Yeah, but the only thing that we have to have done, because I do ultimately hope we can go back to Stripe, the only thing we have to have done like this week is the ability to accept a subscription, like a monthly subscription. I guess we could even make that a one-time payment that we recur if we have to also.
Gotcha. I haven't done a whole lot with PayPal because the preference is of course, Stripe. I have done a little bit with PayPal, actually, for Nathan. Nathan, which plugin did we use for yours? I forget. Maybe Nathan has a suggestion of which plugin to use.
Is there another platform other than PayPal that's more, bubble friendly? I know there's Square and there's other ones.
Honestly, I would be interested to connect you with a company called EasyPay and see EasyPay Direct or something like that. I'll get the name. I know I'm acquaintances with the guy who owns that, and what I like about them is anytime you're dealing with something that might be considered risky by Stripe, it's probably also going to be considered risky by PayPal. And the problem is that really what's happening is there are like 3 member banks that are driving all of this, like whether things are risky or whatever. And if you get blocked by a member bank and Stripe and PayPal are using the same one, then you're kind of screwed. So yeah. The EasyPay Direct works with, ends up being the intermediary between all 3 member banks. So they set you up so that you're kind of distributing your funds in 3 different places, because one of the biggest problems is they won't tell you up front that it's risky and they don't want to do business with you. They'll let you go ahead and generate a lot of income, and then they will freeze your account and not let you have access to the money. And that seems to be a far more painful situation. And so let me get the contact information and I'll send it over through Slack and just have you kind of have a conversation, because you can connect with basically any payment processor with an API. We're looking at plugins because plugins can make things easier in a sense, but essentially you might end up going with an API connection to something different. So
yeah, hang on one second. Hey, sorry about that.
Yeah.
I had somebody call me. Yeah, that would be helpful. I'm actually, we're kind of doing the PayPal thing, knowing that they might freeze our account.
Okay, yeah, because you're just trying to get proof of concept. So
yeah, exactly.
So,
and even if they freeze our account, if we've gone to the point where we can say we had customers willing to pay, that matters more than whether or not we actually get the money from the customers.
Gotcha. So let me just go in and I'll look at the PayPal plugins and see if we can pick one out.
Yeah, there was one in particular that I was looking at that says it's for payment. What did it say? It was for paying, like payouts. But I wasn't sure if that was just like this, if it was like in a deposit in a bank account, or if it was just going to go into a PayPal account that required PayPal.
Right.
I guess that's the main thing, is that I'm hoping that we can set it up in a way that doesn't require our users to create a PayPal account.
You mean to receive money or to pay money?
Ideally, both. That's what I like about Stripe, is you don't have to create a Stripe account. You just you integrate with it, right?
Well, I mean, with Stripe Connect for the payouts, they are technically creating a Stripe account. They're just doing it under your umbrella, basically. PayPal Payouts API.
Yeah, this one. I was looking at that and I wasn't sure if that was just like, you can send anybody money on PayPal, but they have to have a PayPal account.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be able to get around that, being able to send, because you're directing the money towards an email. So they're going to have an email that's associated with a PayPal account. So probably a combination of this one with one of the other PayPal plugins. I'm not a huge fan of Copilot's plugins, primarily because they're not supported very well. I mean, they're obviously great plugins and they have lots of people who like sign up for them and use them. The problem is they don't offer any support on them without being paid for that support. And in some senses, that kind of, they do have courses that you can take to learn how to use their stuff, but those courses can become outdated very quickly. Coaching no-code apps is interesting. I like their stuff. I'd probably investigate a Coaching no-code apps plugin over a Copilot plugin. And then,
is that called Coaching no-code?
Yep, Coaching no-code apps. So it's the second one. If I just type in PayPal, it's the second result here. So I think that one's I'd probably. Oh wait, hang on. Oh, this is just an OAuth. Never mind, that won't work. You definitely need to use payments. So PayPal. So this is, I mean, you don't need an app to create a button to send you to PayPal, do you? I don't think so.
No.
PayPal.
Is that what these are all doing? I don't really.
No,
like,
no. I set this up. I think Nathan must be away from his desk, but I did set this up. I did a video. I'll go find the video of how I set up. I think it was just, I was doing the one-time payment. I'll send you the video so you can see the implementation. I just forget which of the plugins I used for it. It might have been the Copilot one. We'll see. So, Note to Pay, PayPal, Payments.js. Yeah, I'll send you a video showing you the implementation for the one-off, and then you can do the subscription yourself. So if it's not using PayPal subscriptions, if you're just doing the, the one-off payments, you can schedule those in a recurring fashion in your app so that it'll work like a subscription. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need to keep doing this in office hours. You can send it to me after. It's fine.
Sure. Yeah, no worries. Let's see. John, coming back to you.
Does Rob not get a turn?
Rob said that he hadn't started yet, so he didn't have any questions. But Rob,
right.
if you have any questions, you can chime in.
No, but I did just get the Postmark acceptance email, so I'm testing that out now.
Awesome. Yeah, we were having a heck of a time getting Postmark to work without that approval. So
I used a different plugin for Postmark, which, just in case Rob carries on having trouble, I actually found a lot better than that other one. So I use this rich Postmark emails. And the thing I liked about it is it's very well supported on the forum. The guy who built it's on there a lot. And it's specifically for Postmark. And whereas with that other one, the AirDev one, you didn't seem to get any Postmark specific error messages back. So you were just sort of blind as to why something wasn't working. Whereas this one, you get all the error messages back. So it was really easy to debug what was going on.
Cameron was spot on. I just tested it, went right to my Yahoo email.
Yeah.
No problem.
working.
That works. Yeah.
Right. Well, so we were going to make changes to using the option set stuff so that I know what plan level they're now on if they've changed it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so it comes back in, and yep, you would say, go ahead and click there for subscription name, I guess. The Stripe plan name. And then we're going to get an option. And the option set will be the subscription options. Yep, the plan OS. And then the option, you're going to say all options. And then you're going to do a filter. And then you're going to say the constraint will be this plan OS. It's Stripe price ID is. And then you'll say the request data up at the top. And then it's the, I think they were calling it the plan ID, but it was coming back the price ID, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go for plan ID, yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
And then first item.
Then first item, right.
Oh, no, not there, on the other one, on the other
right.
screen. Yeah, first item. Uh-oh, Stripe plan, oh, it should be first items and then put display.
Cool.
There you go.
And I take it for testing, I'm going to have a bit of a, I'm going to have to think about it because that price ID is the live one, not the dev one, isn't it? In that sense. So I might have to be careful of, it might not match up to the right price ID, if that makes sense.
Yep, that's true.
Okay. It's fine. I can, for the purpose of testing, I can change that to price ID dev. If I need to. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Cool. Okay. Right. I'll have a play with that and I'll work out what else I might need to add in there. But that's probably all I really need to know is have they cancelled? And if they haven't cancelled but they've changed the plan, what plan are they on? Because those two things control, well, cancelled means they won't be able to use it. If they've changed the plan level, it means it changes what they can do in the app. So that makes sense. Am I able to be cheeky and ask you another quick question? Because it is pretty quick, because I think you'll probably know straight away what the problem is. So without going through all this, the short version of this is, let me move people out of the way. When I go to register a customer, my workflow, I've changed this, so I'll show you so that you know what I'm mumbling on about. So previously this select plan thing was in a different screen. So I had them going through sign up, then they'd go to select a plan, then it would go to Stripe payment, etc., etc. So I've changed it because I think this is probably a bit slicker. So they just go in and say, what plan do they want? It tells them the high level card, and then they sign up and they pay. And then what I want them to do is, after they've been through Stripe and paid, I need them to go to that Google Search Console authorization screen. But somewhere, and I must have set it up this way, but I can't find it in Stripe. When they've finished paying at Stripe, it sends them back to this screen, which is not what I want. Now, I'm not controlling that in my workflow. They come back to this screen, and then my workflow, you see this, and then it takes you to the Google Search Console screen. So Stripe is obviously sending them back here, but I can't see anywhere in Stripe where I've told it that's the page I want it to go back to.
Gotcha. So yeah, it's just sending them back to the page they were on.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think if you want to change that, if after they pay, maybe you will have something different in the database when they come back to that page that can be used to trigger them to move to a different page.
Yeah, and they do, I have got that working. So it does eventually take them to the right page. It's just that they initially end up back where they were. Then like 2 seconds later, it then takes them to where I want them to go.
Gotcha. So maybe navigate them. I don't know if there's a.
I'm presuming it must be somewhere in. Because you must be in Stripe able to say, send them to this page when they're done.
Well, you can do that for the Connect account, because you can set your URI, but I don't know of a way to do that when you send them to like the checkout page.
Yeah.
I'd have to look into that and see if that's possible.
Because I did do a bit of a search on good old Google, and it just kept directing me to Stripe's APIs, their API calls. So I'm wondering, maybe it's something that I have to send it in the API where I need them to come back to. That's
what I was thinking is.
Yeah, because you do that on you do that on the WhatsApp one, don't you? In this one, wherever it is, I need to be a bit careful in a minute because I've got my keys in here. But on the Stripe customer portal one, that API asks you where you want them to come back to after they've done. But in the main Stripe one, there's no field for that.
That's true. And you might over time just migrate over to using the API connector for your Stripe.
Yeah, I thought this would be nice and easy, but it seems to be causing me more problems than perhaps it's worth. But
well, it is nice and easy for like getting the stuff where you're not too you don't have too many preferences. Because as soon as you start to have a preference on how things done, then you start to need the API connector or another plugin. But I tend to recommend going API connector with Stripe, just because the Stripe API can change, and so you're not being reliant on other plugins to keep those up.
All doing their thing. Okie dokie. Right, I will do a bit more digging myself to see if there is a way around it, and if not, I'll either live with it for now and then do my own connection later or whatever. Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Hi, Callum. How's it going, Callum? Are you here?
I'm here.
Yeah.
You're right.
Do you have any questions for today?
No, I'm having a problem with an API, but I think it's more of an API issue than a bubble one. Any other questions? Anyone know a good API for looking up restaurants?
Mm,
Nope.
wouldn't that be
Cool.
like a Google Places thing?
Does Google Places work? Can you filter by restaurants?
I don't know. We should go look
You should have
and
a
find
look.
out. Yeah. You know how to look that up?
No. Do you mind having a look for me?
Okay. Sure.
Oh, hi Rob, by the way. Nice to meet you.
Hi, Jordan. Welcome.
Hello. How's it going?
I've heard so much about you.
Maybe 10% is true.
Got you.
Callum, don't get me in trouble, man.
What, you were saying how amazing he was? All right, okay.
So we want to go.
Yep, 10% is true.
Thought so.
See here. Places API. Place search. So it's probably a query string you can add to the place search,
Okay.
like find place.
Actually, if you go back to the previous page, one of the questions I had was the autocomplete, and I think Google just had one there. Do you know how to do that with a search and autocomplete? Because I've got a few APIs that split it in half. So I think the restaurant one is a good case of this. Actually, is they ask you to do a API call with their autocomplete API to find the location, which returns a location code, which you then have to use that location code for looking up, restaurants in that area. Do you know how to use the autocomplete in Bubble with the search box or whatever search?
I do not. I've never done that before. But you know who I bet could answer that question on Friday?
Ooh, who could it
I
be?
could work on it with Cameron.
Yeah, I'll ask Cameron.
Our Google API expert.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I'd be curious. I'd be curious to watch him work through that anyway, myself.
Cool. Yeah, no, sounds good. We can go through that on Friday. But other than that, no questions. And yeah, we can wait till Friday to do that.
Sounds good. Jordan, how's it going? Oh, Jordan, are you here? You're on mute. I can't hear you. We'll circle back. Nathan, do you have another question? Nope.
Everybody's disappeared.
Brenton. Brenton's not gone. I see Brenton.
You're looking
I
very
got a
warm
question.
there, Brenton. It's really annoying me.
Oh, sorry about that. Are you in a cold place?
Scotland. It's always cold in Scotland.
Oh, yeah. We were just, our designers are from Scotland. They were complaining about that.
Yeah.
Okay, question I have is, all my page names are just page names. Is there a way to have folder structure in your URL page names?
Yes, you want to work with what's called the path. So you can designate different paths. And Eli we have a video on YouTube that I can send you where he kind of goes through and talks about how to work with it for specifically for SEO purposes, that sort of thing. So, but essentially you're working with, let me go here. So I don't think it's something that you don't do that here. You can do that when you navigate. So if you do a workflow, let's say on page load, I want to navigate and go to page. I thought it was here. Not parameters. Here's something else. Destination. I clearly haven't worked with it yet. Let's see. Path. No.
Is it built into Bubble or is it a plugin?
It's built into Bubble, I believe. So there's a. How do you do that? Yeah, I know it can be done. I just haven't done it myself. And the first place I would look would be to go back to that video with Eli when he talks about it. And
if it's
because
on
you
the,
can get the path, like if you go to the forum, set path bubble.io.
if it's on the
change
workflow,
your-
does that mean there's going to be a flash as it loads one page and then switches to the other?
Usually there's not. When we navigate and we're changing paths and URLs, if we're actually going to a different page, then yeah, there's a reloading of the page, but like you can change URL parameters without a flash on the page. So it's pretty instantaneous. So create a URL.
I'm thinking about having, like, for example, we've got like 5 or 6 profile, like pages that are for updating profiles. And so it's like artist profile, artist public profile, and I'm using underscores to separate it, but I like them to all just be under like a folder called artist and be able to link to them even from like, you know, emails and things. So it would be like when you land the first time, not dynamically changing.
So, but you have like a different page for each of them?
Yeah. I mean, we're adding more and more pages, and it's getting pretty chaotic having
Unwieldy.
all of them on this in the same directory with, you know, we're just having to come up with more and more creative names and using underscores.
So are you worried about the way it looks in the URL, or are you worried about the way it's happening here?
Yeah, I know I can organize it with folders here, but I'm more concerned about just the way it looks on the URL, because you know, every page is like something underscore something underscore something. This would look better if it was slashes.
Yeah, so I would be very cautious about making pages for everything. The reason being is that one of the difficulties with Bubble is that you're loading an app. You're not loading just a static website usually. And even when it is static, you're loading app stuff. And so the page loads are pretty slow sometimes in comparison to, say, like Webflow or even WordPress if you're doing WordPress right. So I tend to go with a bunch of reusables and then place the reusables on the page and just hide and show using URL parameters. So it's a little uglier than the slashes that you're talking about, but it's a much faster and much nicer experience for the user because they don't have to load a new page every time they're going back and forth to different things.
Oh, okay. So you just kind of have really, really big pages that are switching in and out, almost like states for sub pages within.
Exactly. Yep. Precisely. You could use states or you could use URL parameters. I tend to use URL parameters because those can be shared. Like those are shareable or savable for the user.
Okay. All right. That's a very different. It's interesting because I was kind of trying to use pages intentionally so that there wouldn't be a lot that Bubble would have to load. So maybe I did it back. I did the exact wrong thing.
Well, so the nice thing about using reusables as sort of a page reusable instead of like the name reusable is misleading because you can use a reusable the way that it seems where, oh, this is something that I'm going to use more than once in my app, so I'll make it once and then reuse it, right? Then there's this other way of using reusables where you would take a screen like a comprehensive screen that you're going to use, put that screen into a reusable like a page, then place that reusable hidden on page load on the page and only show it when you need to show it. When you do that, Bubble does not load everything that's in that reusable when the page is loaded. So
Right.
it keeps your editor fast and your page load speeds fast.
Oh, that's a great tip. Thank you. I never would have figured that out on my own.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome. So it's more like a single page application.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
So
I like to stay away from I at least like to clarify when I say single page app, I don't mean to put everything that everybody's going to do on a single page. I think of it more like if for any given purpose that the user is coming onto the app, I want that flow of things that they're going to be doing to stay on one page as much as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so so when you're doing this, say you're navigating from one reusable to another, between as if they're pages, do you just update the URL and let the page notice that the URL parameter has changed? Or do you actually like hide and show the reusables and update the URL?
Yep. So I always set it so that the group where the reusable is only showing when the URL parameter is something specific. And sometimes it's a combination of URL parameters in order to show something. And I do not do the hide and show because when you manually, like I say manually, but when you like hard code it to hide show things, it interrupts that URL parameter thing.
Right. So the source of truth should be the URL parameters. So you just update that and then the page follows suit.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And then when you need,
that's great.
Yep. And when you need to transfer information back and forth from reusable to page or reusables to reusables, it's just important to know that a single reusable does not have access to the states on the page, but the state will have access to the reusables states at the reusable level. And then the same for reusables within reusables. But then all reusables and all pages have access to the page URL parameters.
Okay, so if you're transferring information, if you want to pass information from one to another, you have to do it either through the database or through the URL params?
Or a state on the reusable, but at the top level of the reusable. So you can set a state on the top level of the reusable, and the page has access to that
reusable one can set state on reusable 2's top level.
If reusable 2 is inside of reusable 1.
What if they're siblings?
If they're siblings, then the page can change the state of either one.
So would you be able to have reusable 1 tell the page to change it? Is that how it works?
Yeah, you could. Yes,
okay.
You could do it that way. Yeah,
cool.
There's some flexibility in there, but that's the main, like, understanding the traffic of information. That's the primary consideration.
Yeah. Wow, this would have taken me hours to discover on my own. I'm really glad I talked to you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Reusables are very powerful.
Nice.
Your aim, like this on my screen here, I use the Canvas template here. Like any of your portal pages or whatever, you want as few, like you should not see this many actions on a portal page, maybe 2 or 3 workflows, because everything else should be in reusables. So.
Got it. Well, I built my entire site wrong, but it'll be better from now on.
That's okay. That's all right. And then there's one other tip or trick here. In your reusable, if you set a custom event on a reusable, the page where that reusable is placed. So if I'm in the admin email menu here, and I'm just going to do, so you can see this custom hide focus group and add template here. These were created as custom events. So if I just go and do 7 custom from. So if I go and grab that reusable element and I drag it onto the page here, then in my workflows, I can trigger a custom event from a reusable element. And it will let me, so from the page, I can trigger those events of the reusable that's placed on the page. So you can, in effect, you can make reusable, you can make a reusables workflows reusable throughout your app, wherever that reusable is placed.
So this right here, you have an admin email menu. Is that a sibling or a parent to this reusable?
So that's a child, because I placed it on the page.
Oh, I see. Okay. So you can trigger events in the child event or the child reusable.
Yeah, in the child reusable, as long as they're custom events.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Let's see. We'll come down. Jordan, are you with us yet?
I'm gonna have to pop off, but thanks so much. Really helpful today.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Haven't heard Jordan pop in yet. Let's see. Callum.
Wagwan. All right.
Which API are you working in or on? Or you said you think it's an API thing, not a bubble thing?
No. This is what. This is the what's that? In the chat.
It's a rapid API. Okay.
I know you love Rapid API, don't you? It is really helpful because it's the same. I mean, it's helpful, but also terrible for doing this because it's the same API key for every API. So
right.
The times that I've accidentally shown it, I have shown my API key for everything, which isn't great. But hey ho. Ah, dear. Gotta love life, right?
Okay. So worldwide restaurants.
Yeah, so let's switch that to HTTPS to start with. On the right hand side.
What are you trying to tell me to do something?
Yeah, so on the right hand side where it says node.js Axios, let's just change that to HTTP.
Okay.
Yep. And then cool. And then yeah, right. So this is the search one. So if you scroll down in the center part, what you'll see, so request body. So it's here, location ID. So location ID based on type head results. Now type head is another API post call over on the left hand side there. Yeah, so you can type in like a city name or something, but it should, I think, return and then if you scroll down in the middle again, you'll see, so the queue string returns an ID, but it should kind of auto-complete as you type, so that you only type in, like a legitimate city name, so it can return the correct location ID. But I can get it working.
I don't know that I'm going to be able to help you with that, Callum.
That's cool.
I got to take Cameron's API course next month. That's what that means.
Is he doing an API course, you say?
Yeah, he's teaching APIs in no-code school.
Awesome.
So it should be fun.
It should be fun. Sounds it. But yeah, so that's that one. And then what else is screwed up? I mean, obviously all the reusable elements that I'm not using, I could be using, which would be good. At some point. So I don't think we just talked about this. So reusable elements then. So you can't do actions outside of them, can you? So if I wanted to put, say, my menus or the, what is it? recipe search, I need, when I click on a recipe, to be able to animate an element to show it and then display data in it. How do you do that with reusable elements? Because whenever I'm doing a reusable element, it doesn't give me access to anything outside of the reusable.
Gotcha. So a reusable element, I'm just going to make one here. Oh, I went to my Mac and workflows instead of creating a new reusable. 297, just reusable. So a reusable element, you can think of it like kind of like a page without a URL destination. Like it doesn't have a URL. So you can't just go to a URL and arrive at the reusable. Whereas with a page, you create a page and you can go to that URL to get to it. So the reusable looks very much like a page in that sense because it is sort of like a page. Just like a page, a reusable, you can set a type of content. So this is one of the primary ways to send information into a reusable is by setting a particular type of content. And then when you do that, when you place the reusable on the page, so if I go back to my 297 here, and I take my reusable element here, now the data source would need to be a number because I told it that this reusable, the data type would be a number. So it will probably accept 2 and be happy. If I tried to make it something else, user is going to be unhappy because it's expecting to be a number. The data source should be number, but right now it is a user.
You're on mute still.
The other thing you could do to send information in and out of reusables is by setting states at the reusable level. So not on elements within the reusable, but on the reusable itself, if you create a custom state, the page that or the other reusable where the reusable in question is placed will have access to this state. So you can use different activities that are happening to set a state on this reusable, and the page will have access to the state. The page can change the state. The reusable can change the state. So that's another way of transferring information. And then the third way is through URL parameters, because the custom state and the page both have access and can change the page URL parameters.
Got you. Okay.
So if you're having trouble accessing anything inside of the reusable, what you do is you tell the reusable to look out for a custom state, then the page can send in a custom state.
Okay, so you just do a do when this is a custom
Exactly.
this reusable. Okay.
Yep, precisely. Or URL parameters. You can use URL parameters too.
And you can animate. So say if I want to get rid of the reusable, I can animate it out as well.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. I'll have a play around. I've got to jump in. I've got to jump in anyway. I've got a call at 7.
All right. See you later.
I'll be on Friday. See you there.
All right. Bye, Callum.
Bye.
All right. We're going to move into after hours. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, after hours is where we turn off the recording and we turn on the cameras and we hang out. And sometimes we have things that we don't want to share in the recording, like if it's particularly like if we're debugging something in the API connector where we don't want to share API keys, or if it's a sensitive project for a client who doesn't want their app being shown in recordings. If in order to join us in after hours, you do have to be a member though. So to go to ProNoCoders.com and sign up as a developer member and come see us. We'd love to meet you, love to see what you're working on and help you answer bubble questions. Thanks for watching.